Okay, I wanted to review foreshadowing before you read the chapters for the day. Foreshadowing is a hint at what will happen later in the story. It often builds suspense and makes you want to know what's going to happen next. Sometimes foreshadowing is obvious, probably more often it's subtle, where you won't really notice it until you read the book or watch the movie a second time. Or sometimes you might note that that's probably important, but you don't know why yet. Authors can develop foreshadowing in several ways. One is just through description. So if you've read the story Hansel and Gretel, you know that something bad happens in the woods. So here the description adds some foreshadowing. They entered a dark forest. The trees stood so close and tangled that as soon as the children were no more than a few feet inside, already they had the sense that they had lost their way, though at that point they easily could have turned back. So again, the author uses foreshadowing within the description. Foreshadowing could also be developed through the dialogue or the conversation. So right here, "I don't know if this is such a good idea," Gretel said. "We could get lost, and some of the kids say there's a witch living in here." "Oh, hush," Hansel said. "Don't be such a coward." Gretel would have turned back, but she didn't want Hansel going alone. Okay, besides foreshadowing in the dialogue, it could also be developed simply through the events that happen or through the character thoughts, and this example is a combination of both. On a bright sunny day, Hansel and Gretel entered the woods. Gretel was reluctant, being afraid of getting lost, but Hansel said he would drop breadcrumbs so they could find their way out. This seemed like a good idea to Gretel, but she couldn't help peeking back, and when she did, she saw little birds flying down to eat the breadcrumbs. Next, I want to show you an example from Despicable Me.
Sleepy kittens. Sleepy kittens. What are these?
Puppets. You use them when you tell the story.
Okay, let's get this over with. 3 little kittens loved to play. They had fun in the sun all day. Then their mother came out and said, "Time for kittens to go to bed." Wow, this is garbage. You actually like this?
Keep reading.
All
Come on.
right. 3 little kittens started to bawl. "Mommy, we're not tired at all." Their mother smiled and said with a purr, "Fine, but at least you should brush your fur."
Now you brush the fur.
This is literature? A 2-year-old could have written this. All right. 3 little kittens with fur all brushed said, "We can't sleep. We feel too rushed." Their mother replied with a voice like silk, "Fine, but at least you should drink your milk."
Now make them drink the milk.
Oh, I don't like this book. This is going on forever. 3 little kittens with milk all gone rubbed their eyes and started to yawn. "We can't sleep. We can't even try." Then their mother sang a lullaby. "Good night, kittens. Close your eyes. Sleep in peace until you rise. Though while you sleep, we are apart. Your mommy loves you with all her heart." The end. Okay. Good night.
Okay, so I assume most of you have seen Despicable Me, but just in case you haven't, Gru, and this is Gru right here, at this point in the movie, which is fairly early on, does not care about those little girls. He's using them to try to get into another villain's fortress of a house, so he does not care about them. So when he reads them this book, it's foreshadowing that eventually, by the end, Gru will love those 3 little girls with all his heart. There's also foreshadowing in The Giver, and when we read chapter 3, you probably thought this was important, but you didn't know yet what it was hinting at. So chapter 3 was before Jonas was assigned as receiver. So this is the very beginning of chapter 3, and you should notice the foreshadowing now that you're reading it a second time. Oh, look, Lily squealed in delight. Isn't he cute? Look how tiny he is. And he has funny eyes like yours, Jonas. Jonas glared at her. He didn't like that she had mentioned his eyes. He waited for his father to chastise Lily, but father was busy unstrapping the carrying basket from the back of the bicycle. Jonas walked over to look. It was the first thing Jonas noticed as he looked at the new child peering up curiously from the basket. The pale eyes. So again, the pale eyes are foreshadowing what's to come with Jonas. And chapters 7 and 8 of Gathering Blue both include foreshadowing too. So I'm not going to give you an extra assignment with foreshadowing, but I want you to pay attention to it. And then I would like you to write at least one discussion post about what you think is foreshadowing in chapters 7 and 8 and what you predict will happen later. So again, no extra assignment, but please make your discussion post relate to what you think is the foreshadowing. Also, don't forget to make sure you're commenting on at least one person's post when you're doing your discussion post for each assignment. Thanks. Please ask if you have questions.